Hi, Laith from Wineberry Hill. We've been having some pretty soggy wet weather here where I live, and so that has me thinking about mushrooms. I'm going to demonstrate in this video the concepts of how to grow mushrooms. Now, in my case, it's going to be shiitake growing in logs, but I don't want that to dissuade you because I want you to remember one thing, and that is you can grow mushrooms anywhere. In fact, you can grow them in a closet in your apartment. And I'll leave a link in the description for you to be able to do just that. Grow mushrooms in your closet in an apartment. Okay, now an important thing to remember about mushrooms is they're actually closer to animals than they are plants. And so obviously they're finicky about what they eat. So let's start with food selection. And in my case, we're gonna select some wood. And I got a bug in my eye. Get out! We're going to select food. If any portion of this video is interesting, entertaining, educational, please let me know in the comments. It really makes a big difference with YouTube. And also maybe think about becoming a member. Now, whether you're growing commercially or as a hobbyist, there are 4 or 5 kind of main growing mediums that you will use to grow your mushrooms. These typically are wood, either as a log or a sawdust, straw, grain, or compost. Now remember, you can't just give any mushroom any growing medium. They're very picky about what they eat. Just like you can't give your dog any kind of food. Actually, that's probably a terrible example. Just like you can't give your cat any type of food, they have preferences. Well, mushrooms do too. And so make sure you look up, does this species of mushroom like this species of tree? It really does matter. Another thing to think about is you're not planting mushrooms. They're not plants. They actually share more DNA with us than they do with plants. And so you are actually taking mushroom spawn or fungal tissue, putting it in a growing medium, and that is called inoculation. So you are inoculating a log to get mushrooms to grow. And then the mushroom grows inside that log and it produces a fruiting body. And the fruiting body is the thing that you cut off and eat. So there you go, there's kind of the basic ideas. Now, additionally, the plot thickens when it comes to the age of the wood. Now, you can't find an old log that's been laying in the woods. You have to cut the log fresh. But the problem with that is you can't immediately inoculate it because there are compounds in fresh cut wood called phytoalexins. And phytoalexins are there to prevent fungus from growing in the wood. And so there is a period of time of about 1 or 2 weeks where you can't do anything with the wood other than cut it to length and wait. And then after that 1 or 2 weeks, you have a window of another 1 or 2 weeks where you can get the log inoculated and stored away. And the reason if you wait too long after that period of time is because then other funguses move in. And so you need to basically kind of find that little window when it comes to inoculating logs. All right, I'm gonna show you how the actual inoculation process works. In order to do that, I'm gonna need to go back in time because all of this needs to take place in the fall or winter when the moisture content is correct in the wood. All right, here we go. Now, I can't emphasize enough how much better it is to use an angle grinder with a mushroom plug bit, and I'll leave a link in the description. This is because the depth of each of the holes is going to be the same every time, and the RPMs of an angle grinder are so much faster, so much higher, that you'll fly through the process of drilling the holes. Now, you're going to drill the holes on a 6-inch diamond pattern on the log. And one other thing, have friends over. Get your husband or wife to help you out, because while it's not complicated inoculating a log with mushrooms, there's a lot of just kind of steps. There's a lot of drilling holes and sealing them. And so if you have somebody helping you out, it'll go even that much faster. Okay, so to recap, mushrooms care about the food and the environment that they live in. And so the environment primarily needs to be the correct moisture level, the right humidity level. And one of the ways that you can ensure that that is reasonably stable in a log is by sealing the cut ends using a food grade wax like cheese wax or beeswax, as well as any place on the log that perhaps you limbed it and there's exposed wood grain. You need to seal it. Obviously, this applies to all of the holes that you drilled. Now, those holes are eventually filled up using the inoculation tool, and there is spawn in each of those holes. You need to seal over each of those holes so that now the mushroom has this nice, happy, moist environment that it can live in. Get out of there. Now, over the years, I have used a lot of different methods to store the actual inoculated logs. Here's a little kind of like log cabin that I made, and I've stacked up the logs, and it works okay. I made one up on the top of the property as well. But actually, the method that works the best, I have discovered, is using a water tote that I customize. And here's how I do that. When it comes to log storage, the basic idea is to keep them up off the ground so that they don't get too wet from the ground moisture, as well as to reduce the amount of kind of eye-level creatures chewing on your mushrooms. I'm really happy with this particular approach of log storage using a water tote that I cut 3 of the sides out of. And some of it just has to do with the fact that it's in a good spot. Also, it doesn't decay. So I know that this thing is going to be around for many years so that I can reuse it for inoculating mushrooms. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, what about the mushrooms? When do we get to eat the mushrooms? If the mushrooms are happy, meaning they have the right food and the right environment, anywhere between 6 and 24 months, you'll have mushrooms. Yeah, it's a wide spectrum of reasons why that's the case. Your climate, the specific, details of the wood that you use, the, persnickettiness of the particular mushroom, all of these things play into when you're going to be able to get mushrooms. For me, I typically check on my mushrooms after we've had a rainy period. And if you live in a drier environment than where I live, you might need to occasionally water your logs to ensure that they maintain a good moisture level. Now, if you're watching this and you live in an apartment or you live in a situation where you don't have a lot of space, but you would like to grow mushrooms, I mentioned at the outset that the company that I get my mushroom supplies from, it's an awesome company by the name of North Spore. They have kits, growing tubs that are only about so big that you can grow mushrooms in. And you can grow mushrooms, like I said, in your apartment or in your basement or something along those lines. So that's pretty cool. It kind of is a hobby for everybody. And a needle pulling thread. Oh boy. I think they realize, well, there's nothing exciting in that plastic or in that wood, so I'm not gonna climb up and find out. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I need to go back in time, back to this past spring. Oh man, I was so close. I was so close. Almost made it to the end of this one as well. But you can't just pick any kind of wood for another reason. Oh man, you're meandering. Where are you going with this? I think I just sucked in another bug. And mushrooms are incredibly far away from plants. In fact, they share more DNA with us than they do with plants. And so I have no idea what I'm saying. No idea. Where am I? Who are you? And I think I said it, but I sound like I have more to say, and I don't. Now, if you have questions, if you have comments, please leave them in the comment section for this video. It really makes a huge difference. Now, it's probably diehard people that made it all the way to the end of this video, but thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. And if you like this video, you might like these.